So today we'll talk about SAN configurations. Okay, how to automate the SAN environment using Ansible. So initially we have to know about the manual steps. So first, what we do, we verify the license and enable iSCSI on SVM. We do this. Okay, and what is the next step that we do? We create the libs. Okay, SAN libs. We get this in per nodes. Okay, because we need to have at least one leaf per node, because if one node is down, then the other leaf can will help you to will help the server to have access to the storage. Okay, so you need to have two data leaves. Okay, SAN leaves. If you are having iSCSI leaves, then you'll be relied on IP. If you are having FC leaf, then you'll be relied on you'll rely on WLPN numbers. Okay, and then you have to create the I group. Okay, and the fourth thing you have to do is create the data volume and learns on volume. Okay, or sometimes you can do create data volume, then q3, then learns on qts also. Okay, depending on requirement. Here you do not have to be concerned with the junction path. For SAN, we are not concerned with the junction path. For only NAS only we are concerned with junction path. Okay, and then what you need to do after the learns are created, map the learns to I group. Okay, and then from here you have to set up iSCSI, like iSCSI connection on server, and set up multipathing, set up MPI also. Okay, you need to set up this on the server level. Okay, so these are the things you need to do. Okay, now let me go here. Okay, so here the thing is, I have to again set up that the connections and all. Okay, so first I have to log into the control server. So today I will talk about the basic things and the automation script, and then next week I'll talk about small scripts that I showed yesterday, right, for the NAS, right. For the SAN I'll also talk about like how to create your scripts from Ansible Galaxy, because always you refer to some documentation. Even if you when you do manual work, right. Today I did a work, right. I created the system configuration backup for my NetApp nodes, and I set up a thing like whenever the backup is happening, right, it should transfer the backup file to FTP server on weekly basis. Okay, and it should hold like 4 weekly things, right. So this kind of thing, if you are doing something new, you always have to refer to the documentation. So similar to here also, whenever you are referring something, right, you have to refer the documentation only. Okay, so here I can log in. So let me just install the thing. Okay, I had installed. Development. So this is a development kit which will have a lot of Ansible related things. Okay, wget is to get this thing. There is a install command, and we need to use yum also, so we need to use yum utils. GCC, this is all package manager. OpenSSL. hyphen yes if you give, then it will not ask you for any prompt. I have to give the password for Ansible user, which is this, because yeah, zero command I'm giving, right? So it will install all the things. Okay, so here I'm installing this SSH pass, right? So the SSH pass I'm installing, the reason why, because whenever I want to run some command, right, it will ask for me the password about this. Okay, so to avoid that thing, I'm using the SSH pass package. I'm installing the SSH pass package. Okay, and then I'm also installing the KRB packages, which is basically KRB packages are enabled, Kerberos authentication on the Linux host, on the control host. So this is for Active Directory authentication to manage the Windows host. So that's where we are installing that. And we have also installed that @development package, which install the GCC and other software development tools. Okay, and the other packages which we installed here, right, which we installed here. So these are for Kerberos, PEEP, all these things we installed. Okay, so let me check whether the Python is installed or not, because Python is required for Ansible. Yeah, it is installed. And let me check PEEP is installed or not. PEEP is the package manager. If you want to install, you can install PEEP install command. So let me check. And you can easily upgrade using PEEP, because suppose you want to install something, right, it will always install the latest package. Okay, using PEEP. So that is
Okay.
also a good one. Yeah. Now,
There is a. I'm sorry. There was some network glitch, so that's the reason you may unheard my word. I'm back now. It's clear now.
okay, 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 got
Thank
it,
you.
got it.
Thank you.
So anyway, so the thing, yeah,
Prashant is there.
yeah, no problem. So the thing is, it will be repeated, right? So you will get a hang of it. Eventually, the thing is, first, if you, when you are doing automation, first start with Ansible, and then go with Python. Okay, first do Ansible. You'll find it easy to do. And as I said, you can always refer to the documentation. Is Ansible Galaxy. Okay, just go to the documentation. From here you can get everything, whatever you want to do. You can get everything from here. Okay, let me just 1 second switch on the, because we had a lot of rain, right? So mosquitoes are there. Mosquitoes are coming. Yeah. So from here, yesterday also you saw, right? So you want to do something like with aggregate, you can use this module, and you'll get a sample module here also for OnTap and Zappy. You need to use like REST and Zappy, so you need to use the REST, and you can use this. Okay, similar thing what I showed. Okay, so we install all these packages. Now we have to install the Ansible for the Ansible user. So whenever you install that using the pip command, right? So pip 3 install Ansible. So if you do this, right, so what it will do, command will do, this command will, the people run against the root user. Okay, it will use the root user. Okay, and what it will do, whatever package you install, right, it will be under the root user home directory, right? You don't want that. You want it to be under Ansible users home directory. Okay, so that's why you specifically use that, you know option as user, because we are in Ansible user, right? Specifically mention that thing. And okay, equal to. So it will download it, you will install it. So here hyphen user, right? So what it is doing, where it is hyphen user. So it is instructing the people to install the package on this user's local directory, okay, user's home directory. Okay, so that's what it is instructing it to. So let us wait for some time. You see Jinja template, because Jinja template is used to, pass the use the variable placeholders, all these things. Okay, so let us wait for some time. So Prashant, I was previously discussing on this. Okay, the manual step. Okay, so let us wait.
Which setup are we installing?
Today we are doing SAN for the SAN because we completed NAS yesterday. So we are doing SAN for iSCSI. We are doing. So we are installing all the things, and then we need to install all the things means yeah, OpenSSL, GCC package, Ansible, Python, WinRM, all these things, whatever we require. So we actually don't need to install all these things every time, but the labs are different, right? So I have to install. Normally you have to install one time and you can use it for both SAN and NAS. And normally you'll have NAS in your environment, okay? SAN is very rare. Normally they will have some pure storage on EMC or Hitachi. So here what I'm doing, I'm installing the NetApp library. Okay, this NetApp library is, this Python module is required. Okay, so that Ansible can do, Ansible can create API connections to the ONTAP. Okay, so that's why we need this NetApp library. Okay. And you know that we need to install this netapp.ontap collection module, right? Because everything is under this. You can see NN ontap upgrade, right? It is, this module is under this collection module only. So you need to install the collection module, okay? So we'll get it from where? We'll get it from Ansible Galaxy only. So Ansible collection install tab dot ontap. It is installed, no problem. That's not a problem. So now we have to install that WinRM module, okay? Because Ansible needs this to to connect to any Windows. So we need this WinRM module. pip3 install. It's for Kerberos authentication. Or for Kerberos authentication also we need this Windows module. Kerberos. We needed this to in Ansible's home directory, so we use the user command. Now check the Ansible version that we have installed. Okay, yeah, this is what we installed. Now we'll check whether we are able to uh, ping to any of our managed host. Okay, so let me do that. We do not have any managed host because we want to manipulate that, we want to manage the NetApp array, not any Linux array or anything. So that's will being the localhost only, and we have not created an inventory file also. Okay, so just create this ping pong so it can ping itself. Okay, so let me just do one more thing. Now I will check what is my present working directory. pwd present working directory, it is home user, home of Ansible. Okay, home directory of Ansible user. Okay, now what I will do, I will clone from some some branch of some GitHub account to copy all the playbooks. Okay, so I will use the git clone command. Normally to do git clone, right, you have to install git. Okay, we are able to do this because the git is installed on this Linux. That's how we're able to do. So that is one step you need to do when you do this. Or you can create you can use your own files. Okay, you can create your own files using the Galaxy. It's very easy. Suppose you want to create aggregate, right? So this is what you do. Before that you have to have this collection module obviously, and you just do this. You can also add more things to it. Okay, instead of this hard coding the this, like you have to do this, but you can put some file also, use some file also, refer some file also. Okay. I need to give the URL of the GitHub repository.
Can you also paste this command in the chat, so or in the team or in the WhatsApp chat?
Yeah, yeah. But this will probably not work. Okay. This will probably not work. This one, this git clone one. The reason being, not I'm not talking about all commands. I'm talking about only this command. Okay. So what you can do, you can create your own playbooks from the Ansible Galaxy. It's not a problem. You can use it. Here we are copying the playbook from that so the NetApp branch, NetApp NetApp testing branch. Okay. So you'll not have that. So what you can do, you can create your own playbooks using this Ansible Galaxy, but you can use this command to install all the things. Okay. So here, right, we copied it here, so I have it here. Okay. So now, so I have all these playbooks. Okay. So you can create those playbooks easily. Use, as I said, using the Ansible Galaxy, you just have to copy paste it. Okay. Just suppose you want to create any case, just copy this code. That's all. And you just as per your requirement, you can change it, or maybe you can create some other file, and there you place that inputs, or maybe you can use some variability like Ansible underscore EGGR underscore, then dollar, like that. You can use dollar, and you can have that input from some other file. You can do that. Okay. Or maybe, as I said, you can have this in the other file, right? You can have a dictionary, and here you just use a loop, you just use loop LWP. Okay. And loop block you use, and you can pass through all the entries and that file. Okay. That which I showed you in one of the scripts, right? So you can use the loop function also. So let me go to one of the volume for the cluster 2. So this is the volume creation command, so which is similar to what we saw in last week. Okay. Nothing, but you can easily, this is self-explanatory what is showing here. Okay. And you are getting these informations from this file only. You can see here HTTPS, this is to connect, to establish the HTTP connection, and this is to whether you have the self-signed certificate, self-signed SSL, or CA authorized SSL. False means self-signed you're using. Okay. So, and then username, password, and the leaf, cluster management leaf, so all these things. Okay. And you are just referring this file here. In one of the scripts I showed you, right, we created a lot of different playbooks, and I was just referencing the playbooks in the main playbook. So that is also you can do, or you can use roles also. So you can see it's very easy, right? So what you are doing, you are referencing the variables from this file, and then you are creating a task, and this is the module you are using. If you do not mention that collection here, right, so here you have to mention na.ontap. This one. Okay. If you do not mention it, this, and then you have to mention all these things, like, so it will create, if you already have the finance, then it will not create. Okay. And then it will create on this aggregate, it will take this vServer, it will create 5 GB, and the junction path with slash finance. Although junction path is not required for the SAN environment, it is mostly required, it is mainly used for NAS environment. Okay. Not for SAN. So this is like, you can ignore this also. Okay? If you want, you can just hash it, or maybe don't use it. Okay. So this is very easy. Okay. Suppose you run this command, not delete, sorry, create. maybe just create this. We just use this create volume, same file only. So you can see that it's created, okay. Changed one means created. If we go to that cluster 2, you can see the finance is created on this vsub only, and it has taken the aggregate that we mentioned, okay, and 5 GB. So if you just see cat and this, you'll find a correlation between this and that, okay. So you see here the name is finance is VM3, and this cluster 2 underscore 01, you can see here same thing, all these things same, 5 GB, you can see all these things same, okay. You can see this, okay. So that's not a problem, it is very easy. So if you see this, what is showing, the same file it is showing, okay, same file it is showing, not a problem, okay. And suppose you want to check this other playlist, right, list. We just check this playlist, okay. So what is the difference between these two? Second, let me just be so here you see the difference, right? So here vars same. Here you see you see a block, right? In the vars block you see a dictionary variable, right, on top, which is having assigned this percentile, sorry, not percentile, anchor, this ampersand on top, right. Ampersand is nothing but this YML anchor. So it is matching the following string, okay. So here, although these variables everything is same, but here it will match the on tap name, okay. So basically whatever value we use, it's not important, but here the important thing is here we are using an on tap dictionary variable which is having a key value pair, okay, and it will match that on tap credential and connection parameters, okay. So that's what it is doing basically, okay. And this feature that we are using, the YML and YML analysis, right, it's part of YML only, it's not part of Ansible. So if you are using some other file, I cannot really call this or use this anchor, okay. The scope is local only, so it is only valid inside the file, not outside the file, okay. And if I want to do the same thing here, like Ansible playbook, this should not work, okay, because you already have that finance volume, right. So you can see I see change to 0. I still see change equal to 1. Why? Cluster to demo data. Okay, I don't know why it's changed showing 1, but we already have the finance. You see, right? Finance volume is already created, and it did not change anything actually. Okay, you can see here it should show change to 0. I don't know why it should change to 1. Should show change to 0 because it did not create anything. Change to 0. Okay, it did not create anything actually because we already have the finance volume. You can also see from here, right? The finance volume, only one finance volume you can see, right? So it did not change anything. It should have shown change equal to 0 here. Okay. So whenever the file is getting big, right, so you don't want the information to be here, right? You want the information to be in another file, like I showed you, in one of my sessions. So you don't want that in the same file, right? So for that, what you do, just go ls. Okay. So I already showed this cluster, this one. So you'll see you'll have everything here. Okay, so all the things is mentioned here. You can encrypt the file using the Ansible vault, which I showed you in one of my sessions. Ansible vault. Okay, you can do that. And if you see this this file, right, so here you see, right, I'm not hard coding the variables, right? I do not mention what will be the input of these variables, right? So input is in the vars underscore files. So this is a block, and this is the file where it is stored, right, in the while file which I showed above, right? So it's just referencing that file, that's all. Okay, so vars file is being, the playbook is using this vars file directive just to load that contents from that file. Okay, so that's what it is doing, nothing else. Okay, so if you create something, this is also finance, it should fail actually. Fail means it will show as okay, but it will not this one, it will not change anything. Okay, because already the finance is there, so it should not change anything. Okay, change equal to 0. If you see the finance is already there. Okay, it not do anything. Okay, now if you want to write a lot of things, right? You want to write, like you want to create an interface, like all these things you want to do, right? So just let me just go above. You want to create a data view server, you want to enable the iSCSI protocol on the data view server, you want to create the SAN leaf, each per node at least one, twice is better, two SAN leaves per node is better. You want to create an I group, you want to create data volume, queue tree, LAN, you want to map the LAN to I group, all these things. The last one is the server specific module I need to have. I need to use the Windows Ansible modules to do this. Okay, but let's say 5 points, right? So you have to do this, right? So how do you know which module does that, right? So you can get the list from here also, from here and here also, from Ansible Galaxy also you can do, and from here also you can do. Okay, so Ansible doc, in underscore on tab, how many modules are there? 156 modules are there. So what are those modules? So these are modules, right? So you want to do something SVM, use this module. Okay, this module, use this module. Okay, already I'm defining the collection, so I don't have to do dot again. So but if you don't give, then you have to give it. Okay, you want to know about this module, then you just use this. One second, let me just type it here, copy it here. Just easy enter. Okay, so you can see here, so this is the module, right? Sorry, one second. So these are the module, right? So what you can see, create, modify, delete SVM on NetApp on tab. Okay, and you can see this is these are the parameters that you can use: state, aggregate list, protocol, allowed protocol. Here you can give the protocol. Okay, all these things you can do. Some things are not required, like force on diversion. These are all not required. Okay, few things are required. Okay, language is UT8, language is new given, and then volumes, the root volume password is not required. That is for admin SVM, like sorry, to create the administration of the SVM, that's not required. So most of the things here is showing, right? You can just enable, you can use it in your playbooks. Okay, so you can use that, so not a problem. Okay, and I already showed how to create a volume using the Ansible like ad hoc command, right? So I already showed you that one. Okay, and we also talked about that facts, how to get that facts, right? Like subset of facts also we showed. Okay, so we showed that one, so that's not a problem. Okay, and collection role also, suppose you want to do something, right? So you need to know about the collection roles. So let me just do ls cd dot dot slash ls ls space hyphen la is to find the hidden directories. Okay, I don't have nothing, I have nothing, I have nothing. Mm, so so here you see a lot of things. Okay, so uh, if we go to this roles, right, cd roles ls. So the first one you see, right, NA ONTAP cluster config, right? So using this you can install ONTAP licenses, you can assign disk, you can configure DNS, NTP, SNMP, you can create aggregates, VLANs, broadcast domain, interface group, intercluster list, everything you can do using this role. Okay, and you have this NAS create role. This is to create the export policies, export policy rules, volumes, CFA share, CFA server, everything you can use. You can create, the NAS node using this role. Okay, and then you have the SAN create. Using SAN create, you can create I groups, volumes, LANs, LAN mappings. You can do. Okay, and then you have the SAN create. You can create the cluster peering, vServer peering, you can create flex walls like targeted flex walls. You can create relationships. You can initialize the relationship, update the relationship. You can do all these things. Okay, and then you have net any on top vServer create. Using this, you can create your SVMs. You can allow different protocols on the SVM. Okay, so all these things you can do. And then you have native on top vServer delete. This is to delete the vServer and dependencies, other dependent things. You can do that. Okay, suppose we want to check about the SAN, right? Because you want to focus on the SAN. So this is the readme file. Okay, so you can see it's like a we go above. Yeah, so each role will have a readme file that will briefly explain the roles capabilities. Okay, so here this role it's talking about the SAN key, right? So here it's talking about what this role will do. Okay, so create one or more learns for iSCSI FCP. It is talking about the variable that is required for this role to set up the connection. And this is your dictionary. You can use a loop through it, like you can create I group 1, I group 2, below down I group 2, and you can loop through it and you can create the things in the playbook. This is the learn to create the learns. Okay, so you can see that the dependencies. So normally what you do, you know that the gather facts module, right? Using the gather facts module, you can find out the informations about the ONTAP, and then you can use a subset of gather facts to find the informations. Because sometimes what happens, suppose you want to create a learner volume, right, and the vServer is already there, so you want to find out what are the data vServers there, right? So you use the gather facts, and then you filter out using the if block to find out the what type of vServer is there. If it is a data type, then you find those out and you create the LANs on, or sorry, volumes on those data SVMs. Okay, so that's what you do. So for that you have to use this, this in this variables. Okay, this is nothing but this, and it's like a dictionary. Okay, you can see the key value pairs, we can call it as associative array also. Okay, so this is basically the I group property, LAN property. So all this you can see here. Okay, now you go to ls, and now here it will have the coding. Okay, now it will have all the the predefined YML file, okay, the playbook, the whole playbook. Because when you use role, right, you just mention the role name, that's it. You do not have to mention much things, but you have to mention the variables and all. But so here this role is nothing but this is actually taking the information from this main YML file only, the roles, okay. So here it will basically, this role, what it is doing, it is having different task is having, like you are doing I group creations, volume creations, LAN mapping, so all these things, right. So first one, it is doing I group, okay. So you can see here it is using this module here, okay, and it is creating means as far as the state is present, and it is taking the information from where it can take, you can outside you can use a variable, and that variable, from that variable you can take these informations, and it is creating that I group on this V server with the initiator groups, okay, initiators, and the waste type, everything it is doing. And initiators, like you have to give that initiator the IQ numbers. For iSCSI you have to find the IQ number, and the IQ number you can find it easily by going to this, here, just go to iSCSI initiator, okay, just click on here, and here you will get it, okay, here you will get it, okay. From there you can copy it, okay, from there you can easily copy it, okay. Here we have not added anything, so that's not showing, but that's how we get it, okay. And after this, what you're doing, this was HTTP connection, this was SSL, okay. So here it's saying that when I groups equal to none, okay, so then only you create this thing, okay, and then the volume is there, right. Sorry, when I group not equal to none, then only execute this. Like first it will do this, okay, first it will do this, create the I group, and then once the I group is created, then only it will do the next thing, okay. Because this block is dependent on the previous block. In Terraform we have the depends on block, okay, but in Ansible you don't have such blocks, okay. So there is one more option that I showed you yesterday. I forgot the block name. So that block will tell you to wait for something, to wait for this operation to be completed, because this operation is a asynchronous operation, not a synchronous operation. Whenever this playbook is executed, by not with below 2 seconds it will execute, okay, it will take some time. So that we use that block, I need to see, I know to remember that block, okay. So we use that block so that it waits, okay, it will wait for some time, and then it will execute the next block, okay. So in the next block, in the next task, you import this, like we are using this module, and we are creating the volume only, okay, creating the volume with aggregate name, everything, size and all, okay. So this is something different, like it will round it number, okay, as per the cylinder, like ceiling value, not cylinder, ceiling value. So that's something different. So here you can just give the size name, size number 5G or something, you can give 5, okay, and then unit and all. Space guarantee is volume or none, you can give as per the things. You have to remember, if you are using backup, right, suppose you are using some volumes, not about iGroup I'm talking about, you want to give some volumes for the backup purpose, so you need to always make sure that the volumes are thick volumes, not thin volumes, okay, thick volumes, okay. Then you have to that these are the things you need to give to create a volume, okay. So here this is nothing but just doing the connection. This is not actually, you can do it one time, but this is the role, right, predefined thing, so you do not have to do anything, okay. So you create the I group, then you create the volume, okay. Now it is showing, now what it will do, it will create the LAN, okay, with items LAN, so it will create the LAN. So it knows it needs that volume name which you created previously, V server name, waste type and everything, okay. Using that we'll create the LAN, okay. Once we create the LAN, then what it will do, so when once this block is executed, right, and showing when LAN's not equal to none, that means the LAN's is having some value, right. So this is a variable that is defined with items, okay. So whatever things are there, it is being assigned to this variable. So if this variable not equal to none, means it's it's executed, the operation is completed, then only it will go for the next step, okay, next block, execution of next block. And the next block, what it will do, it will do the LAN mapping, okay. So it will import, it will need this module which is under this collection only, and then state present means creation, state absent means deletion. Okay, and you can see initiator group name, it will get it from the previous one, the path, uh, and then vserver, and then these are the connections that it will do. Okay, so these are the things it will do. Okay, and this LAN mapping will only execute if the LAN is not equal to none. Okay, so that's what it will do. And it is basically, so if you go to this PWR, so this is the file. So let me go to our let me go to that SAN lab where we have copied that the GitHub repository is branch, one of the branches we have copied. So if you go here, so this is a delete volume script. Okay, here we are not using a role, so just a very simple script here using variables, task, these functions, absent you're using. It is very simple. Okay, but if you want to use that using role, right, so there must be something here. One second, using role, this is create volume, delete volume using role. Okay, I don't have it, no problem. So if you go here, you see it here, right? It is very easy. Okay, so this is the file where we have all the credentials, valid certs, https, everything. Okay, and we are just using this role SAN create, so that predefined role, and here we are giving this associative array or the key value pair like the dictionary. Okay, so it will loop through this dictionary and it will do this. Okay, so it will create I group, like v server, like all these things. It will create the I groups on this v server, and the type will be iSCSI type, Windows type host. It will take the IQ number, this one it will use to create the I group, and it will also create the LUN with this name. It will create on this volume, and the volume is located on this aggregate only, on this vserver size with this. So it will create the LUN only. Okay, and it will assign it to the I group, this one. So it is doing this. Okay, we are using this predefined roles. Using this predefined role, it is becoming much easier to do this. Okay, because we do not have to write all these things here, just we are using this role. Okay, but we have to mention that associative array. Okay, we have to mention the associative array, which you can help us to create the things. Okay, so if you run this thing, Ansible, before that let me show you here. Nothing is there. Okay, so just run this Ansible playbook. So it created the I group, it created the volume, it created the LUN, it did the LUN mapping. Okay, so all these things was done. Okay, so if you come here, it created this LUN, it created the I group. Okay, and if you just see LUN mapping show, you saw the LUN mapping also. Okay, so this LUN is allocated to this I group. This LUN is also part of a volume which is hosted on this V server. Okay, and it is using the iSCSI protocol. Is the first LUN, the LUN ID is 0. You can change the LUN ID also. You can mention the LUN ID attribute here also using the command also you can change. Okay, so that's also you can do. Okay, so this is just the easiest one to create. In next class we'll talk about a much bigger file where we'll import many things from the other playbook. Okay, and then we'll talk about, like we talked about last, right, small scripts we'll talk about. Okay, using small scripts from Ansible Galaxy to create the volume, to create the I group, to create the LUN, to map the LUN to the I group, all these things, to create EQ tree, small things we'll talk about. Okay, and then after, so next week we'll complete the SAN session, SAN automation, and then we'll go to the AWX. This is open source dynamic inventory of Ansible, and then we'll do SVMDR snap error, and then we'll go to the Occam. Okay, in the Occam, using Occam, like using Ansible, we'll manipulate the Occam, and we also do the performance check using the Occam tool. Okay, using Ansible only, and then we'll go to the Hitachi. Okay, at the last session I will include the CVO, but CVO with Ansible only. Okay, last part. Okay, so it will take some time. We'll include the CVO also. okay, and like Hitachi, PowerMax, Pure, and Brocket Sandwich. And then last part we'll do the CVO, but only using the Ansible only, not Terraform. Okay, so we'll do this thing. So you're able to understand, right? Using role and not using role, right? Using role, it is very easy. You just need to use the array, or you can call it as a dictionary also. Okay, so it is very easy to create. And if you don't want to use role also, that is also easy to create. So you can do like this. It is easy to do. You can have a file like volume, create igroup, create mapping, and then have a main file. And in the main file you can import those files, right? Import hyphen playbook, and then give the name of the YML file, and you can import the thing and you can run these things. Okay, you can do that. So both the things are possible. Like all three things are possible. Like small things, execute small things, or execute only one thing and have the small things in other playbooks, or use a role, use a predefined role. You can use any of those. Okay, so do you have any
Okay.
questions before we wrap? Yeah, before we wrap up for today, any questions? And you have to start
Nothing.
practicing, otherwise you'll not get hands on. Like you'll not be uh, it will not be helpful for you. So you have to do the practice. You have to install the simulator and do the practice.
Yeah, I'll start after tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. So first start with volume creation, just volume creation, SVM creation, share creation, and then once you're able to do these things, then used all those things in one file,
Hmm.
all those things
Yeah.
in one file. And how you get help? From the Ansible Galaxy only. A lot of people are not aware about Ansible Galaxy, and you need to use the REST only. Okay, because before 9.7 we used to use Zappy. Now you use REST. So REST only we used to use, not the Zappy,
Okay.
and it will be easy for you. And then once you complete Ansible, then you can go ahead and do Python. Okay, go ahead and do Python.
Hmm.
And whatever I
Okay.
teach you related to Hitachi also, if you get Hitachi in future, it will be helpful. Hitachi also similar thing. You just have to know the manual thing, because Hitachi also they are having the module here. Hitachi, Pure, PowerMax, they're all having the module. I think probably Iceland also they're having the module, but I am not aware of Iceland manual tasks, so I cannot really explain. The manual things I don't know about Iceland. So that's the thing.
Hmm.
But broker science which I can do, broker and CV also I can show you. Okay, at least one CV I can I'll tell you with Ansible. Okay, so we'll check, because I saw that
So this
for the CV also
NA,
they're having.
just what is the difference where when we run this NA underscore on tab these files and the rest are using the like REST APIs or
Which one are you talking about?
like you said that use the REST, don't use API, right?
Yeah. So Zappy was there when he walked in 2015 or 16, right? So at that time, not 15, 16, yeah, 15. So at that time we had the code like 9 point, before 15 actually 14, right? So at that time that code was 9.6 or something. So at that time they had Zappy. The Zappy modules are different. The NetApp lib modules there, NetApp lib modules are 146 modules are there. For the Zappy they have like 400 or 500 modules. So it was different.
Okay.
Yeah. So nowadays the latest code, right? It's supposed rest only, not Zappy. Okay, so the things will be different. So no problem, you just check here. Okay, so here whatever the things are there, they're both the Zappy and REST is supported. When you run you will know. Okay, so you see here, this is for only for Zappy, you see, right? Only for Zappy. Okay,
Hmm.
so this is only for REST. Okay, so whatever that is REST, right, you need to use, not the Zappy one. The Zappy one you can use if you're having lower versions than 9.6, which is very unlikely. Okay, I don't think you'll have it. So most likely you'll have 9.15 or 14 or 9.16. Okay, you'll have it. So you need to use REST only. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that's, yes, so that's
I'll
what I'm
start
talking
this
about.
and let you know if there is any issue.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can go with first with Ansible and then Python. The reason Python you'll find difficulties with Python, because you have to first clear the concept on OOPS. Okay,
Hmm.
once you clear concept on OOPS, object oriented programming, then only you'll be able to write the scripts in Python. Okay, so but Ansible will be very easy. Like Terraform is also easy. You just have to know these blocks. Okay, and which is very self-explanatory, because you have already worked with in storage platform, so you know to create an aggregate, to create a vsub, or what other things are required, and you just need to mention those things. You can hard code it, you can use a variable and place the entries in some other file, or you can use some loop also and use some dictionary in some other file and then loop through the dictionary. So a lot of different ways of doing it, and you'll be able to do anything. Okay, the thing is, I'll tell you one thing. Our management, they are not much proficient. Okay, so once you create the automation, it does not matter how you do. If your automation is working, then it's okay. It does not matter how good your automation is, like how good your code is. Okay, we're not doing a coding exercise or coding competition. Okay, so our code should work, our code should to create something, and it should, like, if it is asynchronous code, then it should wait. So like those things you need to ensure, that's all, nothing else. So that's why I talked about synchronous, asynchronous. I talked about Ansible Vault. I talked about Jinja 2 template, loops and all. Okay. But in next class, right, next batch, right, I'll talk more about Ansible. I'll give an in-depth knowledge of Ansible. Like loops, I think I did not spoke much. If block I spoke, for block I spoke, but not on loop block. So I'll do that thing more. Okay. So I'll teach more on Ansible and Python both also. Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
we'll meet next week. Tomorrow I have a session with this guys, like this NetApp L3 guys. Okay, so there are a lot
Okay.
of people have joined. I don't know, this batch I'm having probably 17 people, I think. So yeah, so most of the people, I don't know, they are like learning, trying really well. So let's see, they're like different companies. Like this guy is from Pakistan. I also got Pakistani guys, bro. Okay, he is from
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan, and this guy is from Bangladesh. I'm assuming, I'm not sure, but I think this is from Bangladesh. Okay, but these people are very good. They are also trying to learn, and they have also enrolled from one of the training. Like Abdul is giving Combol, right? So they're taking Combol from Abdul also. He took my Broket training, not NetApp, and this guy took my NetApp training. Okay, and this guy is one of the guys I'll show you. Okay, he's very good. Okay, very good. This guy is in Australia. Uh, so here, this guy, he's in Canada. Okay, he's very good. He's having around 28 years of experience on IT infrastructure. So he knows backup, storage, VMware, Windows. Like he works in Intel and he knows like almost everything. He's a Punjabi guy. Whatever you ask, you will get an answer from him. That's how knowledgeable he is. He learned data from me. So and this is my brother actually who stays in France. He's learning. He's doing masters there. So it's a lot of people are there. Okay. So next week I will touch more things on SAN, and once the SAN is completed in SVMDR, AWX, uh, performance analysis, and then we'll go to Hitachi. And last thing, right? I will touch CVO. Last topic, I'll touch CVO. And if I'm not able to complete CVO in this batch, next batch 100% complete CVO, but with Ansible. Okay, I will complete CVO at least for one, like AWS or GCP or Azure, at least one cloud platform. So I'll show you. Okay, at least one cloud platform. Okay, okay, bro.
Mm.
Chalo, bye, huh?
Okay.
Bye,
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
bye.
That's it.
Thank you, bye, bye.